This is the Lower Mainland Regional Correctional Centre, formerly known as Oakalla Prison Farm, and basically still known as Oakalla Prison Farm because the new name never really caught on. It's basically a remand center and sentenced inmates. Our biggest problem is having remand mixed with sentenced inmates. The sooner we're able to build further remand centers, the better off we will be, the better off the inmates will be, the better off the institution will be.
First time in, it's shock. You step out of the doors of that truck and you're confronted by this massive edifice of really no aesthetic value. It's just ugly, it's deteriorating, it's a depressing looking existence. By the time usually you arrive here, you've usually gotten past the fear point. You've gone through the court process, you've gone through the arrest, the police jail, which has its own horrors. You're more in a state of apathy and not knowing just what's coming next, you know, which direction you're going, what the hell is going to happen from there, who's going to do what, who's going to say what, and just what is going to happen to you. You're left not knowing, because nobody really tells you anything until you walk in the doors. And you walk through the door the first time and it slams behind you, and you know for sure that you're in jail and you're not leaving until they're ready to let you out.
Is there nothing in your pockets at all, huh? Okay. Pens in the middle, Lisa? Okay, fair enough. We're going to the next cell here, Chief.
Take my jacket?
Yeah, keep jacket. Yeah, no problem.
George? Hang on, I'll turn them off for you.
What about South Wing? Where are you open?
You were Thomas Boyle? Okay, Tom, have a seat. And mind your head when you sit back. Okay, that's fine. We'll just step over the fingerprints that way. Section code now. Okay, we'll start with your right thumb. Step back this way, please. That's fine. And just grab it. When you step this way. Just a minute.
Gear up on the tent, please.
And keep my moccasins, eh?
Yeah, that's it.
name, you go through, take off your clothes, take a shower. What? You know, you stand there and you wonder, you know, what the hell? What is going on here? You know, what do you do with my clothes? Well, what can I take through with me? Can I have this? Well, no, you can't. You can't have this. Well, why? No, you just can't. Coming through that whole process of being processed, to borrow a quote, injected, detected, neglected, is exactly what happens. You come through that door, you come down the stairs, you're processed into a cell. Wait. You wait for paper, you wait for this, you wait for that, you wait to be told what to do. They tell you to take off this, give them this, they give you this back. Through the door. Wait. You wait. When you're handed these clothes that are 99 times out of 100 rags, initially, they're poor in quality, they're poor in cut, they're outdated styles, they're 40 years old. The next thing you know, they call your name again, you go through, take off all your clothes that you've just put on, and they search you, put your clothes back on.
Downside.
Okay, report to the desk.
Okay, you in?
Yeah, just come here.
Okay, just hang up for a second. Are you a drug addict? No? That's your inmate number and that's your cell. There's on 2 left and the officer will escort you down. 203?
Yeah. I guess the best way to describe the life in the west wing of Oakalla would be take it from morning and go right through to the end of the day. You get up, you have breakfast, go back upstairs, clean your cell maybe, lie down, sleep. Maybe if you're lucky they have outside yard. You know at 10 o'clock you're going to get coffee, lie around, read, play cards, sleep, have lunch. Locked up until 1 o'clock, you get out. Maybe if you're lucky they'll have outside yard or inside yard downstairs. Play cards, lie around, read, supper, lie around, brew at 8 o'clock I guess. Play cards, locked up at 10 o'clock, read, lights out at midnight. Same thing, day in, day out, no change. Yard's nothing. It's a big empty hole in the middle of 2 sides of concrete and a curved steel wall that consists of 2 handball courts where 10 people can play volleyball or 4 people can play handball, and The other 150 people that are there can lie around in the sun or sit around in the cold and play cards, lie around, wait. It's wait. That's the whole environment. It's an apathetic state of existence. Time passes very quickly, much faster than you would find it would pass anywhere else, in that you lose track. One day is exactly the same as the day before. You know the day after is going to be exactly the same. Just living in this type of an environment entails developing a sense of patience that doesn't exist on the street. You learn the waiting game, the manipulating games, who you can get what from, which officers are good for what kind of favors, which officers to avoid, what jobs are the good jobs, who to see for what, who to see for this. You sort of develop a sense of balance in respect to you walking a line of what you can do and what you can't do, and to get away with as much as you can, and you do as little as possible.
We used to have where inmates used to work down on the farms, which was really very good. I thought, it'd be nice. I used to enjoy it as a gang boss, which I was then. I enjoyed the periods of going down and watching the vegetables grow, and these people had something to do with their time. This is the way they spend their time. But now it's just completely opposite. They do have gangs out at Westgate B now, which are cutting grass and stuff like that. But there's just no comparison what it used to be like. We used to have gangs that were doing something, making food, growing vegetables, which I say food, potatoes, and we had cow barn where they used to milk cows, and the piggery, and they used to kill off pigs and stuff like this. They just had all this type of thing. But all that's gone, and it's not the same place at all. It really has changed. Nowadays these guys have got too much time to think and get themselves in more trouble, meet the wrong type of person in here.
Madalena, you're charged under 219.
As in any other society, we have rules and regulations primarily to protect our population, which in this case is the irresponsible members of society. Now, when we get to Warden's Court, it's very similar to the outside court, really. The charge is read to him by the presiding officer, a senior staff member, usually a deputy director.
A guy will walk in, he's charged with such a thing like maybe disobeying an order or something, I guess, and Schultz, or whoever sitting in, he'll say guilty or not guilty. And if the guy says not guilty, he finds you guilty anyways. What's the use even asking?
Then that presiding officer has a series of actions that he could take. He could sentence the man to isolation. Obviously, a lot depends on his record, and a lot depends on circumstances and so on. Officers get upset sometimes. They've charged a man. The man is obviously guilty. He's mouthed off. He's done everything to deserve a charge. He goes in, he's found guilty, but he's not put in isolation. And often the officer can't understand. But you see, the officer doesn't know all the facts.
What we have for punishment here now is, to tell you the honest truth, I don't even remember the last time a 15-day isolation was laid down. And I don't even remember the last time a bread and water was laid down.
Well, the segregation they have now is not really a segregation. It's just all it is. Mind you, they're locked up for a period of time during the day. They're let out for wash-up, showers, and etc., stuff like this. But it's not like the old isolation used to be under the cow barn. It's not like that. That used to be a good isolation for the simple reason that they couldn't communicate with one another when they were down there. And there was no yelling or nothing else like this type of thing went down. And they were put off to themselves, and they had to think. And I guess if they started thinking alone that they don't like this.
there's lots of personal danger. At from time to time we pull frisks, and if you've seen some of the obstacles we do come up with at times, you realize how dangerous your life is at times in this place. You get shivs, and you get maybe a little piece of sticks with razor blades in them, and they can do a lot of damage to a man. I've seen a man cut open by a razor blade working on a graveyard shift, walking down a tier, and he got a razor blade come flying out of his cell and across his forehead, and cut pretty bad, and had the shakes after that, and he quit working. When you hit the street, it's a different story than working inside with somebody that's a psychopath or something like this, you know, and you're trying to cope with them all day and keep them settled down so they're not flipping out or going to slash up or anything like this, you know. It's kind of
I know, like, a lot of guys, you know, drink quite heavy or something like that, you know, just to relax or something. Whereas if you were a laborer, right, that has trouble on his job. I'm not saying that I'm an alcoholic and he's not an alcoholic, but we both unwind the same way, right? But unfortunately, so much in the public eye, it makes us look like, oh boy, you know, and like it's really bad looking for us. Well, we have the canteen mess, right? And like half the time, it is really garbage. Like, I know, like many staff won't even eat, you know, like we'll go out for a tea or coffee or something like that. And like if there's a piece of pie or like a cold salad, that's about it. Other than that, very few of the staff eat.
There, as far as the drug is concerned, I've never seen anybody with drugs. I know they get them in. How they do is another word, you know. I just have no idea.
A person would have to be lying to say they don't exist here. They're something that happens, they're an occasional thing rather than a frequent thing, occasionally enough that it's not rare. And yet, if you don't know anybody or if you're in a position where you're not able to manipulate is the key word, in respect to return favors, possibly exchange drugs at a later time, you know you're not going to get anything. Maybe occasionally a little bit of smoking material will come through, you get a little bit high, occasional chemicals.
Oh yes, there's definitely drugs comes in, and you can't really control drugs. They come in family visits or a person returning from courts. And they carried in different manners that you can't expect.
We have a subgroup within the institution that are called protective custodies, PCs, and they're composed mostly of inmates that are in on skin beefs, child molesting, rape. They're not popular. They're not popular amongst the inmates. They're not popular amongst the staff. We don't like them.
There's lots of homosexuality. A person's put in here, and some people are in here up to 3 years waiting trial, and you have young kids that come in here, and you have your hardcore inmates. They are pretty well forced into having sexual relationships with them, regardless if they like it or not, and this is probably where a lot of them turn out to be, you know, going a bit on the other side.
I have really yet never seen anyone specifically forced into anything. I've seen people get beatings for being what they are, for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. I have never yet seen anybody get a beating for refuse to give a guy a blowjob or anything else. It just hasn't happened. Rehabilitation is a minor question, and yet they put you through a rehabilitative type process in respect to there's goals to aim for: early release, parole, work release. So you play position, you maneuver, you straighten your act up, you clean yourself up, you manipulate in specific directions. If you're serious about it, your sincerity comes across. If you're not sincere about it, maybe you'll get away with it, maybe you won't. More than anything else, it's been 2 years or 4 years or whatever taken out of your life. And there's a feeling of urgency usually, you know, to catch up, to make up. And this can lead you back into the same areas. You can walk out the doors knowing that you're going right back to doing the same things. Or you can walk out the doors really knowing that you're going to try something else and see if you can do it. It's an individual thing. It has nothing whatsoever to do with this place itself. They've advised me that should I again be arrested, I should be prepared for about 15 years. So I'm not prepared to give them 15 years. So I definitely have to motivate myself to change my lifestyle. And it's an individual thing. I could very easily walk back out and go back to doing the things I was doing before. It's simple. It's closely related to what I'm doing here. It's the same people. I have all the contacts I need. They're all in here with me. You know, that's the type of thing that arises from coming to jail. You come to jail to get away from the public, and they put you in with the people they're trying to keep you away from. It doesn't work.